What's up guys, the build series has finally made the return with the Valiant. Now there's been a lot of work going on in the background. I haven't been recording because I wasn't sure how easily things would get going and how everything's going to flow. But it turns out that everything seems to be going pretty well. It's quite simple, so I can start showing you some more stuff today, get you up to speed with what's been happening, and then start working on the car even more. So far what you've missed, however, is I took the car up into Rockingham to get the windshield replaced. The guys didn't have a mold for the car, so they've got that coming in. Then they're going to come to my house whenever they have it and they're going to replace the windshield for me. So the shitty windshield is still in, back seats are still not back in. I've got about a month before those are ready for me as well. So I figured we'd just strip the car. My mate Sam came over, he's from the previous build series, and I'll show you what we've been doing in a second. I'll give you guys a disclaimer with the camera. Obviously the last video there was a lot of rubbing on the mic. There shouldn't be today because I've got it on a proper stand again. I am looking to get a new camera eventually, so if the quality is low or whatever, I do apologize. This camera tends to turn off after like fucking 18-20 minutes of recording for some reason, and I can't find the setting to change that. So if there appears to be a cutout in the recording footage, it's mostly just going to be a time lapse with music anyway while I'm painting and everything. But to the more important shit, we've removed the hood. The bonnet's come off. There's obviously a lot of dust I need to clean up here, but we've taken the bonnet off and the two front doors have come off. I've just covered them for now so paint and primer doesn't get inside the car. Later today Sam's coming over, we're going to remove the other two doors on the back. We'll take the boot off, that way we can have the car pretty much ready to just start stripping back, sand everything down to either bare metal or at least get the gloss off, prime it, and then repaint it. And I'm going to keep the chrome off. I'm not going to put the chrome back on the bottom. I'm not going to put this shit back on. I think I'm going to keep it bare, bog up any holes, and I don't think I'm going to reskirt the car, to be honest. I'm not entirely sure yet, but I think that's how I want to do it. That should be, hopefully over the next like week or two, I can start just grinding it away and yeah, sand it and get it all primed, ready to go. But in the meantime, here's the bonnet. There you go. There she is. We've actually only painted the underside at the moment. That is the yellow that we're getting for the car currently. This is only like 2 coats, but this is also, it's the bottom of the bonnet, so it doesn't really matter. It's the top that's really going to get a lot more love. This is incredibly fucking smooth at the moment. I need to do a bit more sanding in here. So my 600 grit sandpaper to just smooth it out a little bit more. So today's plan, while we're here, is sand over this a bit more, hit it with some wax and grease cleaner, give it a tack rag real quick, and then paint it yellow. Going to give it about 3 or 4 coats because it's a really low, like limited opacity paint. So it doesn't, it does require a bit more, well, more layers to be able to actually shine and come through properly. Once it's painted, I'm going to let it sit for a couple of hours, and then we'll put some top coat on it, and then that'll be the bonnet essentially done, hopefully, at least. And then that's why I want to take the rest of the panels off the doors and the boot, because I've got nowhere to put the bonnet, right? So I didn't think about this until it was too late, but basically, once the bonnet's done, start on the car, get the car completely painted and clear coated. Once the car's finished, we can put the bonnet back on, then we can start working on the doors and boots, and then I don't need to worry too much about space. I had to buy a big ass industrial fan too because it was fucking hot in here on the weekend, and this bad boy, this kept us alive, that's for sure. It's my first experience painting. Sam did most of the painting and priming. He loves it, so if you see him doing most of it on video, it's his fucking element. He fucking froths the shit, so you know, you might see more of him than me doing it. He's just fucking, it's his bread and butter, so I just let him go wild with it. But it's been fun to experience so far, mixing everything up. This is the air compressor I bought. I'm not sure if I showed this in the last video. 3 horsepower, 100 litre capacity. She does a good fucking job, keeps up completely the whole way through. Obviously just covered in fucking dust, so I'll give it a good wipe and blow down before we start any work today. And that's mostly it. I've just been buying so much shit. I've got just fucking thinners and cleaners and fucking paints and shit everywhere. Rags, everything you can fucking think of. Air sanders, it's a fucking mess in here, but it's a good hot mess that I'm looking forward to working on. So I'm just gonna like give everything a real quick clean, and then we'll start working on the bonnet while I'm here by myself. So yeah, mostly just gonna be a time lapse from here on out. Music and me making a fool of myself. So good shit. Fucking lift this up and good luck. Oh, that works. Cool.
What's that big marshmallow floating in the air? Who could eat anything without a care?
Not as I expected, the camera just turned off like halfway through prepping under the hood. I have no idea what footage has been saved, but I've pretty much tried to cover up the hood as much as I can because I found that there was a bit of dust and like residue from primer and shit getting in there. Look, this camera's just a fucking joke at the end of the day. I'm gonna get a new one eventually when I have the money to get myself something mirrorless that doesn't just turn off, but I'll do what I can in the meantime. I'm just gonna run over this now by hand with a 600 grit sandpaper, piece of sandpaper, and get it nice and smooth, then clean it up, get it ready for painting.
It's curvy. It's curvy. Curvy is cute and lots of fun. Take it to power before the day is done. Marshmallow good, fair and just. Really big tummy, so eating is a must.
This should be pretty much ready for painting now. You can't really feel any sort of difference. Like if you run your hand over the bonnet, it should feel pretty smooth. Like a bit more needs to be sorted out. Like on this here, there's a couple of ridges. There was a few like small stone chips and little dents in the bonnet that we patched up. You can't even see them now, which is great because we've got some body filler for them. It's just about making the primer as smooth as possible with the sandpaper. I don't want to use the air sander because I don't want to go too hard and ruin the material or the primer, I guess. I'm just trying to make sure that it is as smooth as possible. You don't feel any sort of like roughness along the top of the bonnet, because when you apply the paint, obviously you don't want there to be any imperfections. Which being a home job, there's obviously going to be a couple, but as long as it's as smooth as I can make it, we're going to I'll sort out my wax and grease cleaner now, give it a spray, give it a wipe, then I'll run my hand over it again, just see what we can feel with the gloves on, run a tack cloth over it, a tack rag to pick up any debris, and then we'll get painting. Now typically when painting, people use air guns, so they use the air compressor with paint guns. I'm using something a little less traditional. I'm using a solvent resistant pressurized gun, bottle. Basically, fill it with the paint, easy, give it a couple pumps, squirt the cunt, and Bob's your uncle. Pretty simple system, a little bit unorthodox, but I'm sure a lot of people watching who have a lot of experience with painting understand how well this is about to go for your boy. Now give it a quick blow down to get rid of all the dust. Yeah, she's good. Don't worry, I was only fucking with you. This is wax and grease cleaner, not actually paint. Pump the cunt up. Alright, and should hopefully, oh mate, that's fucking beautiful. Cover the whole thing in wax and grease cleaner. The more, the merrier. You can never have too much. The cleaner the workspace is, or the cleaner the job is, the better the paint is going to look. The cleaner the workspace, I think you ideally want to wipe in one direction, but I don't think it matters a whole lot, to be honest, but keep it as consistent as possible. And just get rid of all the grease, like loose paint comes off from all the sanding. And just get right over the body. It's fucking smooth as shit now. Just like little bits here, it's a bit more exposed than the previous material, but it's still primed and it's still prepped, so the paint should stick fine. In my mind, once the top coat's on, it should be fucking good. But give it a wipe down and get it ready to paint, I think. Is that? Yeah, that's smooth as shit, yeah. This is fucking beautiful, man. I just want to hit up Sam and just see if he thinks this is alright to go. It should be, but he's got more experience in this than I do. I'd rather get a second opinion. And then I'll give it one more wipe over with the grease, tack cloth it, paint. Now tack cloths, if you've worked with these before, you'll know how good they are. These things will pick up everything on a surface. Everything Nothing gets left behind. The problem is with these things, I mean, I'm wearing gloves thankfully, but if you're using these and you're not wearing gloves, it is the weirdest, grossest, hard to explain feeling in the world. It's kind of like, cause it's like a bandage material. It's like a blue sort of bandage, but it's like moist at the same time. It's very strange, but it's good. It picks up everything on the surface. So you just wipe over the surface with it, get everything you can, and it will pick up anything that is loose, that should not be there. And right over the surface. This is the final stage before you paint. Essentially, pick up everything you can. As you can see, there's just like, it picks up all the shit that shouldn't be on there. That's just from one half of the bonnet. I'm going to put it back in the bag because it's good to reuse as well, because it's still in really decent condition. Now for the paint. What I'm going to do, use this bucket I used earlier, paint pot, whatever. We're blending 2 to 1 on the paint. So I'm going to put the paint up to A. I'm going to actually do it on the, I'll do 900 mil. So paint up to A there. And then I've got some paint thinners and paint thinner up to B, or whatever it is. Paint thinner, I can't fucking remember what it is, but it says on the box what I do. A to B, we're not using any other hardeners, so just A to B, and then I'll pour it into the gun and we can get spraying. I would bring the camera over and show you, but I haven't got a good setup for it, and I'm just lazy, so just use your imagination. Imagine me just pissing, because that's pretty much what it is. I've got the gun set to about 28, 29 PSI on the air compressor. I put some paint thinners in the top here just to make sure it looks good. Gonna pull the trigger. It's hard to see from that far away. Put it a bit closer so we can see it better. You can see it's an even spread. See that sort of line there? So you can tell that when the paint comes out, oh, it's on the primer from last week. Here we go, over here. You can see that it's an even spread, and therefore it is good to run. The paint will come out evenly. It's not going to shit the bed. So that's all we want. Smells good. Getting fucking high off of the fumes. So I'm going to empty this out, put a gas mask on, get mixing, get painting. So there might not be much comms going forward for this part of the video. So I'll find some funky tune to play over the top while I get painting.
Alright, well, mask on. I look like a cancer patient. And yeah. Ooh, hold on. This is my first time doing this solo, so good luck to me. My battery's low as well, so this might be towards the end of the video. But yellow paint, good luck.
I can't even get the mask to stay on properly, it just falls off. So if I die, good luck everyone. Yeah, battery's looking low by the way, so I don't know if you heard me, but if the video ends, then bad luck. But yellow paint, good luck.
Mini square fat, mini square fat, square fat, mini square fat, square fat, mini square fat, square fat, mini square fat. That big marshmallow floating in the air is curvy.
Still got a shit ton of paint left, more than I probably needed to use, but I went overboard because I know that it's a limited opacity paint. So when it dries, it's probably going to need another layer or two. So I'm going to go over it again, just use up the paint, because otherwise it is really a waste. There's no harm in extra layers, right? I hope.
It's curvy. Who could eat anything without a care? It's curvy. It's curvy. Mini square fat, mini square fat, square fat, mini square.
I'm fucking happy with how that's turned out. Even with the little look. We're not going to fucking talk about it. I'm going to cut it out of the video. You're not even going to know what happened or what I did wrong. It's fucking gone, okay? Something bad happened, but it's fine. It looks good. Turned out alright. It's actually darker here than it is on the camera too. Battery's about to die, but that's going to be it for this episode. Because of that, I do apologize, guys. I'll get more content out when I can. I'm taking the doors and boot off later. I'll get more painting done. I'll give you more content when I can. Updates will be in the live stream as well on this channel.
Fat, square, fat, mini